In the heart of India's struggle for freedom, one name rings out like a war cry, a symbol of courage and defiance that has inspired generations. This is the story of Rani Lakshmi Bai, the warrior queen of Jhansi. Born in 1828 in the holy city of Varanasi, her name was not Lakshmi Bai, but Manikarnika Tam. Fondly called Manu, her childhood was far from ordinary. Unlike other girls of her time, who were raised within the confines of domesticity, Manu was raised in the court of the Peshwa, Bajirao II. She grew up alongside boys, learning to ride horses, wield a sword, and master the art of archery. Her education wasn't just in the scriptures. It was in statecraft, warfare, and strategy. This unique upbringing forged a spirit that was independent, fearless, and destined for greatness. In 1842, her life took a pivotal turn. Manikarnika was married to Gangadhar Rao Nualkar, the Maharaja of the princely state of Jhansi. Upon her marriage, she was given a new name, one that would echo through history, Lakshmi Bai. As the Queen of Jhansi, she quickly earned the love and respect of her people. She was known for her intelligence, her compassion, and her deep understanding of governance. In 1851, the royal couple was blessed with a son, Damodar Rao. But tragedy struck just 4 months later when the infant passed away. The king, heartbroken and his health failing, adopted his young cousin Anand Rao, renaming him Damodar Rao on the day before his death in 1853. This is where the British East India Company enters our story. Lord Dalhousie, the Governor-General of India, had implemented a policy called the Doctrine of Lapse. This predatory policy stated that if an Indian ruler died without a natural male heir, their kingdom would be annexed by the British. Despite the Maharaja's clear adoption of a successor, the British refused to recognize the young Damodar Rao as the rightful heir to the throne of Jhansi. They declared Jhansi annexed. Lakshmi Bai was ordered to leave the Jhansi fort and was offered a pension. But this was not a woman who would quietly surrender her people's rights. She famously declared, "Meri Jhansi nahi dunji," I will not give up my Jhansi. This was not just a refusal, it was a declaration of war. For the next few years, she petitioned the British authorities, sending appeals to London, fighting a legal battle to reclaim her kingdom. But her pleas fell on deaf ears. The company was determined to absorb Jhansi into its ever-expanding empire. The simmering discontent across India against British rule finally boiled over in 1857, igniting the Great Indian Rebellion. What began as a mutiny of sepoys, or Indian soldiers, quickly spread across the northern plains, becoming a widespread uprising. Initially, Rani Lakshmi Bai was hesitant to join the rebellion, perhaps still hoping for a peaceful resolution. But the actions of the British left her with no choice. When the rebellion reached Jhansi, the local British officials were killed by the rebels, and the Rani was accused by the British of being complicit, despite a lack of evidence. She was now seen as an enemy of the crown. With the British closing in, Lakshmi Bai knew she had to prepare for the inevitable siege. She took command, organizing her troops, strengthening the fort's defenses, and even casting her own cannons. She led from the front, a queen not just in name, but a true commander of her people. Her army was not just made of soldiers. It included women she had personally trained in the art of war. In March of 1858, the British forces, under the command of Sir Hugh Rose, laid siege to the fortress of Jhansi. For 2 weeks, the small army of Jhansi held out against a much larger, better-equipped British force. The bombardment was relentless, but the spirit within the fort walls was unbreakable. The Rani was everywhere, inspecting defenses, encouraging her soldiers, and participating in the battle herself. Eyewitness accounts from that time describe her as a vision of courage, moving swiftly along the ramparts, a sword in each hand, her face determined. However, the odds were insurmountable. A traitor within the city walls opened a gate, allowing the British forces to breach the defenses. Fierce, bloody fighting ensued in the streets of Jhansi. The city was sacked, and its people were subjected to brutal atrocities. But the Rani would not be captured. In a legendary act of bravery, with her young adopted son Damodar Rio tied to her back, she mounted her horse Badal and leaped over the high fort walls in the dead of night. She cut her way through the enemy lines and escaped, a feat of horsemanship and sheer will that has become a cornerstone of her legend. After her escape, Lakshmi Bai rode for nearly 100 miles to join forces with other rebel leaders, including the formidable Tansha Tope at Kalpi. Here, they regrouped and continued their fight. The Rani's presence revitalized the rebel forces. Her strategic mind and battlefield prowess were invaluable. They fought several more battles, but the British Army, with its superior resources, continued to push them back. Their next major move was a masterstroke. In a daring and brilliant campaign, the rebels marched on Gwalior, a powerful and strategic princely state. The Maharaja of Gwalior was loyal to the British, but his army, inspired by the cause of independence, and the presence of the Rani of Jhansi, switched their allegiance and joined the rebels without a fight. The city and its formidable fort fell into rebel hands, giving them a new stronghold and a massive morale boost. For a short while, it seemed the tide might turn, but the British were relentless. Sir Hugh Rose marched his forces on Gwalior. The final battle was fought on June 17, 1858, in the fields of Kodakisirai near the city. Dressed as a cavalry leader, Rani Lakshmi Bai led a fierce charge against the British. She fought with the ferocity of a lioness protecting her cub. Accounts from British officers who fought against her describe her with a mix of awe and respect. She was in the thick of the action, a whirlwind of steel and courage. It was in this final, desperate battle that she met her end. Surrounded and wounded, she continued to fight until she was fatally struck. According to some accounts, she was shot by a British soldier who didn't even realize he had just killed the famous Rani of Jhansi. Not wanting her body to be captured and desecrated by the enemy, her loyal followers carried her to a nearby hut, where she was cremated as per her last wishes. She was just 29 years old. Even her enemy, Sir Hugh Rose, was moved to remark that the Rani was the bravest and best of all the rebel leaders. Her death was a huge blow to the rebellion, which was eventually suppressed by the British. But the story of Rani Lakshmi Bai did not end there. It was only just beginning. In the years that followed, her tale was told and retold in folk songs, poems, and stories, transforming her from a historical figure into a national icon. She became the embodiment of Indian resistance to colonial rule, a symbol of patriotism, and a powerful inspiration for the freedom fighters who would eventually lead India to independence nearly a century later. Rani Lakshmi Bai's legacy is not just about a single battle or a rebellion. It's about a woman who shattered every stereotype of her time. She was a scholar, a stateswoman, a military strategist, and a warrior who led men into battle. Her life is a powerful testament to the idea that courage knows no gender. She proved that one person, armed with conviction and an indomitable will, can stand up to an empire. Today, her story continues to inspire millions. She reminds us of the price of freedom and the strength of the human spirit in the face of injustice. The warrior queen of Jhansi may have fallen in battle, but her legacy rides on, immortal, a blazing beacon of courage for all time. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as inspiring as we do, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of incredible figures from history.